Hello, Internet. Welcome to another update video. This is the third try of recording this today. First, let's talk about content. And by the way, after this, it's going to be really negative. We're going to talk about my brother, and it's really very sad. So if you're not up for that, just listen to this first bit about the channel. I've been dealing with a lot, and I'm not doing super well. And I have Cataclysm footage up until Thursday, which this will probably go up on Wednesday. And I will still make an experimental Cataclysm video this week. But I'm kind of hurting for content right now. And I'm not doing super well. And so when I do record the content, it tends to be extremely negative. I've already cut several episodes from my Cataclysm series that I'm currently working on. And just it's really hard. Cataclysm is a very open-ended game, so we very very rarely do we discuss the actual game. We usually talk about just whatever comes to mind. Cataclysm, I played it so much it's become very routine for me, very very easy to play. So mostly it's been me talking about life and also talking about, I complain a lot. I've been very irritable, so my complaining has ramped up quite a bit in the last handful of episodes. But I don't know if there's going to be a lot of content moving forward. I might take another break, which is like so the exact opposite of what I want to be doing. But I just feel like the content has been so bad. I don't know. I'm on the fence about it, but don't be surprised if there's a few days of gaps where there's no content. I want to be producing content. I want to be writing. I want to be working on things. But for the most part, it's been so difficult. And I know that doesn't mean very much to a lot of people. That doesn't really, it's not detailed. It's not giving you a descriptive explanation of what has been so difficult or what I'm feeling. It's very vague, but I just have not been doing well, and I don't think the content is good. So I'm hoping one of these days I'll wake up and I'll feel good and I'll feel motivated and I'll just bang out like a week worth of episodes. But as of right now, every day just seems really terrible. It's so difficult to just, like, honestly, just to like bathe and eat food is like becoming pretty difficult for me to even do those things. Really not doing well. So content might be a little bit dry. Also, I'm sure there are going to be a bunch of you that want to leave me a comment and say like, "Oh, we love you, take your time, whatever." I'm probably going to disable comments on this video just because of the heaviness that's about to come down. So let's pivot now, and we're going to talk about my brother. Again, if you're not up for like super negative, I've tried to record this twice already today, and it just spiraled out of control with me talking really, really dark stuff. So it might go that route again. If you're not up for that, just don't watch the video. I sometimes I get thumbs down, and it's just like, why even waste your time? If you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. Just spare me the thumb downs and all that stuff. Just skip this part of the video. So last we talked, my brother was admitted to a mental health facility. Basically, my family took him one day to the hospital, tried to convince him to check himself in, and he refused. They brought him home. He continued to deteriorate. The next day, he was very, very bad. So they took him back to the hospital where he was committed against his will. He that day was very bad. They talked about they needed a wheelchair to move him. He just was not functional. He had not been eating. He had not been sleeping. All he does is drink these energy drinks, like the Monster, the huge cans of Monster. He just drinks over and over and over. And that's just not good for you. Not sleeping is so bad for your mental health. Not eating is really bad for your mental health. And drinking lots of energy drinks when you like previously have had seizure disorders and you're not sleeping, all that stuff is so bad for you. And that's kind of what he was doing. They talked about like he closed the car door on his hand, and he didn't even notice. Like he was just so out of it. They admitted him against his will. They committed him. At that point, it was up to the doctors. They decided he was, not okay, and he needed to be taken into care. And I didn't know at the time, but I know more about it now. So in my state, I guess, basically they can commit you against your will. When that happens, they do 5 days. So you're committed for 5 days. That's a reasonable length of time. A lot of people start to recover. Let's say you I don't know, you have some postpartum stuff going on, just going to a place where you can talk to people, getting on medication. Like postpartum, you can't take medication while you're pregnant. So, like, sometimes afterwards, just going to a place where you can talk with doctors and start taking medication again, that stuff helps people a lot. So 5 days is pretty reasonable. A lot of people start to recover, and that's all that they would really need. Sometimes just talking to someone, getting handed a medication that will even you out temporarily while you work out what medication long term is best for you, that's enough for a lot of people. My brother did not understand where he was, didn't understand why he was there. He kept calling people to come pick him up, and we kept telling him, hey, we don't have a say in this anymore. You've been committed by the doctors. The doctors are the ones who decide when you're able to come home. But he kept calling people, my family, calling my mother, calling my niece's mother, his ex-girlfriend, asking people to come pick him up. And we just kept telling him, we don't have control over that. We can't pick you up because that's not up to us. And he didn't really understand any of that. He kept saying things like, because we had told him, like, hey, we really want you to be able to talk to people. We really want you to start taking your medicine again. We just want you to get your medicine sorted out. And he would call people and say, like, you need to sort my medicine out so I can leave. And it's like, he was telling his baby mom this, and it's like, she has no control over any of that. So he's still very out of it. He didn't really know where he was or why he was there. After 5 days, they do a thing where you go see a board of people who determine whether to keep you longer. At this, they determine the next chunk of time is 20 days. So we knew that he was going to be evaluated and at some point and determined whether or not he's leaving or staying. And we found out today that he is going to stay for another 20 days. We thought it was supposed to be on Wednesday, which is tomorrow, but it turns out he already had this appointment, or the review board or whatever it is. He's not recovering. It's so bizarre because you start talking to him, and at first he seems perfectly fine. He's like, I really don't like it here. I would like to come home. I really want to, find a job. I want to go back to working. And those are such like typical things. Like, that's totally natural. I would feel that way if I were there. I would be unhappy. I would want to come home where I have my stuff and I'm safe, at my house, and totally reasonable. And it's just very sad to hear him talk like that, because we want him to have like a happy, healthy life, and it hurts us to hear how sad he is and how he doesn't want to be there and how upsetting it is for him. And so at first, the conversations are like that, and he's rational, and it sounds like old him, normal person kind of stuff. And then it just changes. And partway through, he's like, oh, did you see the helicopters last night? And we're like, we're very far away from where he is. And it's like, no, what happened? What helicopters? And he's like, oh, well, all the helicopters that came to the house, they landed in the yard. The FBI was there. And then he's talking, he's not even here. So like, he's having delusions about our house from where he is. But also that's like such a, obviously a delusion that's not real at all. And so he just flips a switch from like pretty rational to just complete delusional stuff. And he thinks someone murdered his dad. His dad's like a transient. We never really know where he's at. So he disappears all the time, and then he'll show back up, and my brother will want to be around him. But like, he thinks someone murdered his dad. He thinks that people are hunting him. He thinks people are hunting his daughter. He's accused us of hunting people. And he kept saying things like, oh, I told you if you ever threatened my daughter. It's like, we would never threaten, it's my niece. We would not threaten her. And, he never told us anything about it. So like, we don't know what he's talking about. And it's just very bizarre. And it's so sad, and like, I keep hearing my family member crying. She just sits over there and cries. And I think that it's gotta be because of my brother. And it's just like, not to talk about me when I should be talking about him, but like, sitting in my room and just hearing my family member sob quietly in the other room is like such mental torture. Sorry, I choked up a little bit. It's just I can't imagine what it's like to be in my brother's shoes and to be experiencing and seeing and imagining these things, because to him they're completely real. I've had hallucinations in my life. I had a major issue for a pretty lengthy period of time where I was hearing things that weren't real. But for me, I would hear like phones ringing and like digital sounds like chimes, doorbells, things like that. It was just completely random noise. And that's so different from having a full blown break with reality. Although I also have had hallucinations, they're very different from what my brother's experiencing. It's clear to me that he's not living in the same world that we are. He is seeing and hearing things on a regular basis that are not real, that in his world are completely real, but in reality are his imagination, his delusions. They There was also an incident several days ago. My niece was here, and I just heard my family member on the phone saying like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god," and like my niece knows it's about her dad, so she won't leave. She just wants to hear the conversation, and they can't talk freely with the doctor because my niece is there. And I just heard her saying, "Oh my god, oh my god," and my brother had been banging his head against the wall in the facility, and like they had got in some scuffle with the security there, and they had to sedate him. And it's like these are real clear signs that he is not okay and that he's deteriorating. And because my brother had a very serious head injury as a child, so like when we hear he's banging his head on the wall, that's very serious because we've always kind of been told that if he had a really bad head impact, he could die from that. And like him being sedated, that's he keeps saying he wants to come home. He keeps asking us to come get him. Today he called and said he's been calling all the time, and he keeps saying like, just come pick me up, let me go, I don't want to be here. And it's just so hard on the family, so hard on my family members, and I can't imagine what it's like to be him. But like it's just so terrible right now. Everything is so bad. And then he ended the phone call and was like, "Well, I'll be home soon. I'm going to break out. I'll see you later." Like just completely calmly, like no emotion, not like angry, like I'm going to bust out. No, he just, as a matter of factly, was like, "Okay, I'm going to come home. I'm going to break out of here." And it's like, God, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to feel. I don't know. I just am sad all the time. I can't stop thinking about him. I can't stop thinking about how hard it must be for him. I can't stop thinking about my family member, how they're dealing with it. And that's not even thinking about myself. Like, I'm not okay either. I've been dealing with my own stuff really since like Christmas. I've been having a really hard time with just my own stuff. And now all this other things on top of it. I'm not doing very well. I'm not handling things very well. I just sit here all day. I don't do anything. I don't talk to people. I've been backing off on Discord. I haven't really been talking to people. That's like my main place where I socialize. Um, I haven't been producing YouTube content. I haven't been writing. I just sit here. I watch people stream, and I play Tarkov like that's, and watch Bob's Burgers. Like I don't have anything to do. I just sit here, and I'm not progressing. And like life is just so miserable. I got into it with my boss last night. I'm still waiting on that raise that I was promised like 7 weeks ago. There's security at this place where I work where we can't get through the fence anymore. Like the keypad's busted. They've known about that for months and they haven't done anything about it. So some nights I stand out there for 15, 20 minutes in the freezing cold, putting in a code over and over and over until it lets me through the door or the gate. And it's just like, I called my boss to complain and it just snowballed into like just not a you shouldn't I shouldn't mouth off to my boss, but like I just get so frustrated. I'm just unhappy with everything right now. And like I try to record YouTube, but then I'm so irritable and I'm angry and sad all the time, and it just turns into garbage. And whenever I'm sad, like my knee jerk response is to do something. Like if my depression is rampaging out of control, I try to focus on YouTube. I try to focus on my writing, because even if I'm a little bit naive and I think like, oh, I could make money with this eventually, even if that's a naive thought, it still feels like I'm progressing towards something. Like on YouTube, I can see the numbers go up over time. I can see that I'm making progress. With my writing, I can look at the word count and see that I'm making progress every time I sit down to write. So like those are things that help motivate me once I do them, because then I can see actual progress in my life that I can be proud of. And lately I've just been completely unable to do those things. I hate my book. The book I was writing, I hate it now. I don't want to finish it. I think it's terrible. I think I'm a shitty writer. I've been trying to make YouTube content doing AI dungeon stuff, but I hate that too. I feel like I just am bad at what I'm doing. Cataclysm, I just feel irritable. I feel like all I do is complain and whine about things. My personal life doesn't exist. I don't have friends or a girlfriend or anything. My therapy is every other week because of COVID, so I'm not even getting that much therapy. And when we do talk, I have my own stuff going on, but I can't fix anything because, like, even if we talk about my stuff, I also have to talk about my brother's stuff. It just feels like I'm not getting enough. I just wish I had people to talk to. And that always gets people on YouTube to be like, oh, you can talk to me anytime. No, I mean, like, I'd like to be going to therapy more. And I'd like it better if it were face to face, or I'd like it better if it was group therapy still, because I like talking to the other people, and getting their feedback as, like, people who've dealt with the same kind of stuff. But we're getting dark now. Let's pull out of this a little bit. So I'm not really not doing okay. I just sit here. I'm just not okay right now, and I'm not doing well. I'm taking my medication, you know. I just keep taking my medication. I keep going to my therapy appointments, talking to them when I have them. But most days I just sit here and I don't progress in my life at all. I'm running out of money. Still waiting on that damn stimulus check. Just said it was sent out on the 6th. It's the 19th. I still haven't got the damn stimulus check. I'm just not doing great. Not feeling great. I don't know how to pull out of it, So I'm kind of spiraling. So anyway, that's the update with my brother. He's still not okay. He's going to be held for another 20 days, which is kind of a relief. I was worried they would let him go and he would be deteriorating, and I'm still scared he's going to hurt himself or hurt somebody else or hurt me. Like, there's the part of that too. Some of it is selfish. I just don't want him to, cause problems for me, which, whatever. And then I feel guilty. I feel guilty that I'm glad he's in a facility. It's the best thing for him, but it still hurts. It's like, I don't know, telling your kid, like, your kid gets caught doing something bad and you tell them, like, well, you're going to jail because it was the wrong thing to do. You want the part of your brain is like, I got to protect this person with everything I can do to protect them and keep them comfortable and safe and happy. But then there's the other part of your brain that's more like a parent that's like, he needs this, he needs this. He needs to be sorted out. And then even if he gets released from the mental health facility, he's still waiting to go to prison, And I still am having trouble negotiating that, like, because my brother did a terrible thing. Like, from what I can tell, he did it. And it's so hard to, like, I don't know. I feel like I should stand by him, but I also feel like I should walk away from him. And I'm sure my family feels that way too. It's just such a complicated mess of crap, And 2020 was terrible, man. Between COVID and stuff with work and my own mental health and then my brother and all this stuff that's come since then, I was really hoping 2021 would be a little bit better. And we're only about a month in, and I basically have had like 20 episodes go up on YouTube. I'm very not on top of things and just not feeling. I don't even know what to say about it. This is enough of this. So I don't want to keep going because it's just going to be continuing to devolve. I'm not doing great, internet. That may affect the content on the channel. Maybe there will be a few days of clarity where I can see through everything. Maybe tomorrow I'll have a good appointment with my psych and I'll come away feeling better enough that I can record and get some work done. But for the most part, I'm just stagnating. I'm just sitting here, and I'm just miserable day in and day out. I keep going to work, which is good, but that's really all I'm doing is just working and watching media because I don't like thinking about how things really are. I don't know. I don't even know what the point of this video was. Everyone, thank you for listening. Probably going to disable comments. I can tell, you don't have to leave me comments on other videos. I can tell there are people out there who are supportive, and a lot of you have been very positive, sharing, oh, my brother went through this, my mother, has mental illness as well, it was like this and that. So it's not, I get those comments. For the record, I do read those comments. I appreciate the thoughts. Many other people have been supportive, oh, take your time, don't worry about YouTube. But it's less about you and it's more about me. Like, I want to be doing YouTube, I want to be pushing forward, and I'm really not, and it makes me unhappy when I'm not. And that's before you count all the other crap I just talked about. So, all right, that's probably enough. Thanks for watching. I appreciate the support as always, and I'll see you next time.